You know what time it is. It's 8 o'clock Tuesday night. Welcome to the Overland Radio Show. My name's Lee, and thanks for joining us. I'm having one little quick issue. If you didn't know, the streaming stuff for Instagram has finally come around and they've gotten up with the times, but they make it difficult. It's not that easy. And so I'm trying to simultaneously edit our Instagram feed so that it does pop up and hopefully work, but I don't know that it is, so we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, yeah, so cool. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a special guest on, but before we get started, I always want to say thanks to our sponsors, Chad at Overland Attic, Rugged Bound in Midland, USA, which, hey, we're in the Midland swag tonight. Thanks for the sweatshirt, because we did get some snow here in Oklahoma, although it was only like a little dusting, so it wasn't much, and sorely disappointed in that. But however, I'm thankful, or my daughter's probably more thankful, that we did get a little bit of it. But anyway, tonight's going to be fun. I am going to tell you that Ashley's not joining us tonight, or at least that's the plan. And she just got to take care of stuff with kids and, you know, the family thing. But, or at least I will say this. I think that might be just an excuse that she just doesn't want to hang out with me and Jamin tonight. So anyway, if she can get free, you know, she's going to jump on and hang out with us. And what sucks is I went through and I built this whole new background and did this really cool thing. And she's not even going to be here to be in it. And it was made for 3 people. And unfortunately, there's only going to be 2 of us. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad to have Jamin with us. So tonight's guest is Jamin, and he is from Kingdom Camping. And Jeremiah's already starting it. Hey, buddy. I'm glad to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, so thanks for hanging out. Jamin's with Kingdom Camping. And I said that right because I keep wanting to say campers, but it's camping. And he's got a pretty cool story. I don't know the whole thing, but I know enough. I've grabbed bits and pieces of what he's done. And so it's pretty cool. If you happen to, you know, miss a part of it, we actually have a bio that will go, and I'll attach it to this episode once we post it as a podcast. And you'll be able to see all his social media stuff, so you can go follow them and, you know, that kind of great stuff. But thanks to everybody that, you know, is hanging out with us. I was looking at all our numbers on the podcast and on Spotify, and I'll greatly appreciate all the listens and all the follows and, you know, all that stuff. So if any of you have a free moment and you're on iTunes or somewhere and you want to leave us a review, we'd really appreciate it. If you have a suggestion for a show, shoot us off a message. I actually just put a question out too in our Facebook group, and we'll talk about that a little later maybe. But anyway, let's bring Jamin on.
Hey, hi, Lee.
Hey, welcome to the show. So it is live.
All right.
So if you screw up, no worries. I'm not going to edit it. You just screwed up, so no pressure.
Well, sounds about like real life.
Yep. It's like real life. You know, we started doing this late 2018 or 2019, something like that. And we just decided we were going to do it live, and it was just going to be one. We didn't want to know too much about our guests because we wanted everything to be organic and, you know, just, you know, everybody that's listening and watching or does it in the future will also, you know, learn just like we are right off the bat. So anyway, Jamin, and I am saying it right, Jamin, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. My son is Jamie. And so the other day I said something about you being on the show, and I actually called you his name, and I was like, wait, I got to get these two, you know, get it right. Anyway, so where are you coming to us, live right now. Where are you at?
So I'm actually by my home in Middlebury, Indiana, and we have this Caravan XL is sitting right outside my house, actually. So I said,
Nice.
hey, instead of sitting in my office, I'm gonna hop into the camper and give everybody the whole experience while we're at it.
I love it. So, just quickly, is it cold up there?
So we actually got about 8 or 10 inches of snow dumped on us the last day or two, and then classic Indiana weather. It warmed up, and now it's turning into water, so it's not too cold.
Oh,
And I'll point out, the Caravan XL is made to be off grid, and it's made to be 4 seasons. So it's 75 in here. We're not plugged into any power. And that's one thing that really sets your trailers apart is you can camp in any weather and you don't have to be on the grid. So
wow.
that's part of the big design behind Kingdom Camping.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see the on the screen. I usually put the comments from people in the
Comments,
chat.
yeah,
Yeah, and Jeremiah says that it's a pretty camper. And here in a little bit,
yep.
Jeremiah will do a little walkthrough here just shortly. But anyway, so how? Well, let's just start with this. Tell us, because I think I'm probably not going to be the only one. Tell us kind of your story, man. How did you get here? Because you're relatively new, if I'm not mistaken, kind of into this manufacturing process. How'd you get here?
Well, yeah, my face is probably relatively new, but I've been in the industry a long time. So I guess I started as a kid, 15 years old. Actually, I started my first job on the manufacturing line for one of the big public companies. Um, and so I'm 28 now, so that was 13 years ago. So yeah, I've been in the business ever since then. Um, Worked at multiple different production lines, kind of for your typical campers that you see mass produced.
Yeah,
And I kind of learned all the ins and outs about the normal trailers, and learned to work with people. Learned I got promoted into some leadership roles. Learned how to deal with people, lead people, and then got to a point where I you know wanted to make a camper that's. I actually got some land out in Colorado, and I wanted a trailer for my own land, and you know, I knew the typical RV wasn't made for that, and so that it brought the idea to my mind. Hey, there needs to be trailers that are actually made to drive off road, and that
yeah,
once I get to the top of the mountain on my property, it's going to work. So that was the whole idea behind starting Kingdom Camping. Is hey, I've got quite a bit of intuition in the industry, but I want to make a unique product. And then that's where I came on the show of the overlanding industry, and I did a lot of research, and I've been connecting with the community, going to shows, and really working on perfecting the products that we're making available to the people out there.
nice. And so, I mean, did you could say the companies? It doesn't bother us. I mean, we're not going to sit here and slam down on, but you were in the big RV stuff. So just so everybody
Yeah,
understands, when he's talking about like publicly traded, he's talking the big boys,
yeah.
right?
So one of the original companies I worked for was Thor Industries, which they're actually a public company themselves. Um, and you break that down into subsidiaries, which are Keystone and Jayco, I believe, and there's they've got a group of companies. I worked under Warren Buffett, one of his companies, which is Forest River. Forest River itself is not public, but it's owned by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So of course, it's got connections to the all the resources. So yeah, those are some of them. Thor and Forest River are two of the big ones.
Nice. So, okay, I've had two requests already. So, you might as well go ahead and just show us this. Is Explore More calls it, walk around that sexy camper. So, pan around and just quickly show everyone how
Let
long
me,
is this camper. It's tandem
yeah,
axle.
yeah. So this is our big Caravan XL, which is a dual axle camper, and I'm standing kind of in the center right now. There's a dinette here, convertible dinette, and then you have a big queen bed here in the front. And off to this side, there's a large kitchen area. Has a TV, stainless steel sink, cooktop, and then a giant refrigerator here, refrigerator freezer. And then all the way in the back, I'm just going to hop out for a second. There's a large shower and vanity in the back there. So overall, this camper is about 27 feet, and the box itself is about 22 feet. And yeah, it's a tandem axle. It's got the Cruise Master air suspension on it. So it's adjustable ride height. And as I mentioned earlier, it's made for 4 seasons. So it's got skid plates. The tanks are all insulated and heated. And up top, it's got the Dometic 12-volt air conditioner. So
okay.
It's got a large lithium battery bank under the bed, and there's 2,000 watts of solar on the roof.
Oh, wow.
On the roof rack. So, so yeah, the refrigerator, the AC are all low voltage, and it's got LED lights. So it has a low draw, and it's got a large lithium battery bank and lots of solar. So yeah, virtually you can sustain your energy off the grid.
Yeah,
which is cool.
What heater does it have? A Truma heater, or what kind of heater?
Yeah, so this has the Truma Comfort
Combi?
Plus. Yeah, the
Oh,
Combi
okay.
Comfort Plus.
Yeah.
So it does the hot water and the heat, and it runs off propane normally. It does have the option to run off electric. But if you do run off electric, that is your largest draw. Obviously, to create heat off electric is a large draw off your battery bank. So you can do it for a short period of time if necessary. But normally it's on propane.
Yeah. All right. So let's back up. All right. So you work for the big. We had to get that out of the way because everybody was like, wanting to see it. But so you worked in the big RV industry. Wait, is that a Stanley Cup?
This is not a Stanley, but
okay, good. Have you seen all the ruckus about the Stanley Cup?
I've seen it, but I haven't really paid attention to it.
Okay,
I scrolled by it.
Yeah, I flipped through, and these women were all fighting over some red ones in Target, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then some guy, I love this post the other day. This guy goes, he's got a pair of the Stanley mugs, and he says, we'll trade for 4-bedroom house. I know what I got. No low ballers.
Sounds like the used truck market.
Yeah. All right. So, back us up. You worked for the big RV guys. Did you have a dream in the middle of the night where you ride down the road? I mean, what happened? Did the light go off and you just go, wait a minute, I could do this better, I think? Or tell us how that went.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was kind of gradual. It wasn't like this, light switch and then, from one day to the next that it changed.
Right.
But yeah, I remember me and my wife had a trip. We did a cross-country trip out to Los Angeles to visit some family. And it kind of a break, my mind was at ease. And like I had mentioned, we had bought some land in Colorado, just bare land that I wanted to do some recreation on. And I wanted to make my own trailer that actually did what I needed it to do. And while driving on a road trip, I saw a lot of, the overland rigs, and I thought, that's what my camper is going to be like. I'm going to make it to hooks up to these overland rigs and go on the trails. And so, yeah, it was kind of gradual, but I knew, deep down, I knew there had to be a better way to make these, the stuff they were giving me to make it with just wasn't, something I wanted to buy. So that's where the whole idea came from. I'm building one for myself. I'm not going to buy what I know I'm making
right
for the big company. And so it was gradual. I built myself one, and that's where I learned a lot more things about it. The first one definitely wasn't all that great, but that's where the learning, started in a whole new aspect of the trailers. And from there, I just slowly started building them for other folks as well.
Yeah.
Had the company established and registered, and just slowly been growing from there. And some folks come to me and say, "Hey, we want this made. Could you do it?" And it kind of feeds. I have a lot of intuition, but I have a lot of feedback from the overlanding community, and they help build the company in a lot of different ways. I'm not necessarily just saying I know how it should be and this is what I can offer. I'm actually taking in information from the users and kind of building what people need. That's what's created our most popular models is listening to people and
Right.
building what's needed,
Yeah.
basically.
Speaking of the most popular model, let me pull the website back up. But tell me again which one it is. I was
So,
looking. I was looking at him like, I bet this is the biggest, the one he's got.
well, our Adventure Pro Mini is our kind of
Yeah.
our smallest, not our smallest one. We have a smaller one. It's called the Base X, which is like a gear trailer.
Yep.
But the Adventure Pro Mini kind of hits the sweet spot for a lot of folks. And it's small enough to take on the trails. It's small enough to tow with like a Tacoma, a Jeep Gladiator, smaller size trucks.
I'm
But it still
gonna
has
try
that.
something. Let me try something real quick. I'm
Okay.
gonna see if I can't get this onto a. See if this works. We'll add that, and then we'll that didn't work, did it? Wait, where'd it
It's in
go?
the background.
There we go. Well, no, that's still not how I wanted it. There it is. Okay, so yeah, there it is. And look, you're even there on the screen too.
Oh no.
So yeah,
Hard enough to deal with one of me. Now there's two.
Yeah. So the specs on this thing is pretty impressive. So
yeah, so that's a highlight. Like I mentioned, it's a small trailer. It can go on the trails, be towed by a small vehicle, but it's loaded. It comes fully loaded. With solar, with your AC, your heat, lithium batteries. Got the Cruise Master suspension, and it comes in at a great price compared to some of the other ones out there. And it comes fully loaded. A lot of them start off, at a base, and you add on all this stuff. It gets a crazy amount of money. So it's becoming a very popular trailer because of all the specs and the size and what it can do.
Well, I will say this, kudos to you for, I noticed some of the options or the way you equip it. And I will say this, that having things like Cruise Master, which, the DO35s and the CR suspension, those things are just insane. Red Arc. Red Arc. As a matter of fact, the Red Arc, I call him the Red Arc guru god. He's a friend of mine or of ours, Mark Bruce. He's from Red Arc and he's down in Australia. He's actually going to be on, I think, next week with us, and they're going to talk a little bit. He's going to talk to us about the new Red Arc. I forget what they call that thing now. It's the smaller one, not the big Red Vision, but it's the Rogue. That's it.
Okay, yeah. Allows you to do a couple more things like
dim
your lights and have remote switches. I think different. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more intricate.
We've had him on the show a few times, and he's a great guy, and he's going to join us next week. And so you're using, high quality, it looks like, accessories. And I mean, things like, does this have the Truma on it as well?
This does not have the Truma. It is a 2-in-1 combi, and it's similar to the Truma. It works in the same way. It's not the Truma brand, but it works the same way. It's a phenomenal heater. The Truma we do use in our bigger trailers, but on this one we don't.
So for those of you who might just have jumped in or at some point, whatever, I'm just going to tell you, we're talking about the Kingdom Camping Adventure Pro Mini 2.0. Did I get that right?
That's right.
Okay, good. All right. So yeah, that's a pretty impressive one. I will say that the Base X is a pretty neat one too. The gear hauler. I see that trailer, personally speaking, I see the Base X as a trailer that van lifers would pull behind their vans to carry extra ski equipment. I think that's a market that's probably, to an extent untapped. I see all these vans with all this stuff all over them, and they have these, they have the huge boxes on the back and one thing or another. And for me, I think that if you could transfer that weight into a trailer and you're just pulling that, there's going to be, obviously your fuel mileage is going to suffer a little bit pulling a trailer, but you got a low profile trailer, so you're lower than the roof of the van, so the van's going to knock the wind. But
Instead of
I see,
having stuff stored on top. Yeah.
yeah, and so I see a trailer like this. I really think this is something that the van crowd could get behind because
Mhm.
snowboards, kayaks, skis, all the gear and extra stuff, chainsaws, firewood, blah, blah, blah. You can take this and go set it up as a base camp, hence the
Yeah.
name. And,
It's got a
have your,
big enough roof rack to have a large like roof tent on it.
yeah, yeah,
We start this one out as a base trailer. That way people can use it strictly for gear or outfit it how they want it to be, over time. But we also offer the packages to upgrade it, like the kitchen slide and the awning, and we can do the roof tent and the electric and all that. So it can be fully, outfitted as a camper, but we leave it as a base so you can. It has a lot of options. Another industry is like the hunting industry. If you're a
yeah.
duck hunter and you put your duck decoys in the back and mount your guns on the side, and the nice thing is all the handles lock, and so every compartment can be locked and they're sealed, and so yeah, they're really versatile. You can do a lot of things with them. Depends on what you're into.
Yeah, when you look at the pictures, so for those of you listening, hit the web and go look at the pictures of it. It's really neat. It's got a really neat low profile to it. I mean, you could honestly just tow this. I like the option for the um, adventure bike,
Oh,
where it's like cut out. And you can put the bike in the middle, or
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
we have the option to eliminate that center box, so you got a little bit of a flatbed there. So you put your dirt bike or
yeah.
electric bikes, or if there's something you want to store on more of a flatbed type of situation, that rear box can be removed.
Let's see if we can do this here where we get it. Oops. I'm going to try to get it back
Mhm.
on the screen. Sorry. Oh,
No
well,
problem.
I can't. That's all right. Anyway, that's a really cool. Actually, that's really cool. I mean, there's a lot of guys that do like the TAT, the Trans American Trail, or they do the BDRs, and
Mhm.
want to have some type of base trailer, base camp, somebody in a truck with a trailer pulling along. They got extra parts and tires and tubes because that stuff goes out. And if one does ultimately break down, well, you got room to, haul it out of there. So that's pretty darn
Mhm.
cool. And then you have the ATS, which is that's kind of the mid. So that's between the Adventure Pro and the XL, which you're in the XL right now.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
is the XL. The ATS original one was like a V-nose design, and if you check on the website, it actually says we discontinued that original
Okay.
model.
Uh-huh.
But we are in the middle of a redesign of that ATS to where it's a single axle version of the Caravan XL, basically. So what we're
Got it.
doing is we're taking this. The Caravan XL is a very popular style. People seem to gravitate more towards this profile in the front than the V nose. And we're getting a lot of requests to have the Caravan XL shortened into a single axle. It still have the same look and feel and layout, but be a lot shorter and a single axle, a lot lighter. So that's the redesign of our ATS, and we're excited to be revealing that this year. It's a midsize. It's got your indoor bathroom, where the Adventure Pro Mini just has an outdoor galley kitchen and shower, where the ATS is a little bit bigger, has your indoor bathroom, but yet it's not huge like the XL.
So back to the story. You talked to your wife, you went out west, you started thinking in your head, this is what I want. How hard was it to start sourcing all this stuff, and how hard was it to find people, and how hard was it just to open the doors and start building?
Well, it definitely wasn't easy. That's that's for sure. And it still isn't easy. It's never easy. So just so everybody understands, it's definitely not something that's easy to do. But like I mentioned before, I was connected with the community. So I have a lot of contacts with the labor force. I have a lot
Mhm.
of connections with people. So the labor side of it really isn't too complicated for me. Um, I know a lot of people that are good workers in this area. So the labor part was probably one of the easier ones. And there's companies we're fortunate enough to work with multiple different companies alongside of us to help with wall lamination, CNC metal work. So we kind of have a beautiful blend of working with other local companies to make it all happen. But yeah, we just took one step at a time. Like I said, we didn't open up, one giant plant and we weren't just huge off the bat, and we're still not huge, but we're just taking one day at a time, one step at a time, and
Yeah.
slowly making things happen.
So are you using Asdale panels for the walls?
Yeah. So actually, all the indoor panels are Asdale, which it's like a
Mhm.
fiber product. So there's no wood products in any of our trailers anywhere. So everything we use, nothing is going to rot or mold. The cabinetry you see here is Bicom Plastics, their Timberline product, which is a wood grain like an HDPE.
Wow.
So normally, one thing that really bothered me in the typical camper is it had like the MDF, like compressed, basically foam wrapped with a wood pattern, or
Yeah.
some of them had solid wood, but a lot of them were just like compressed, uh, you know, foam board basically. So, and one thing you see with those is as they age, they get really smelly. They start to, the atmosphere, they swell. The camper starts to smell, and they're hard to clean. And cabinets is one spot that fails if it's not a high quality product.
Right.
So yeah, same
Huh.
way with the walls. Like you mentioned, the Asdale, a lot of them, traditional campers have like a Luan, which is like a wood-based product, like behind their exterior fiberglass and also on their interior panel. But as soon as that, if you spring a leak or something, that starts to mold and swell and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, I laugh sometimes because I will see uh following in the RV industry too. I'll see these campers and they're like, we got a special deal on this camper, and I look at it, I'm like, dude, that is a stick and tin,
Yeah,
and you can't pay for unless you pay for it in cash up front. There's hardly anybody that'll ever finance one of those things that will actually probably, I think, pay it off before it starts to sort of kind of fall apart. I just,
yeah,
I look at some of these stick and tins and I'm like, you guys are stapling this wood together. This isn't even like really,
yeah. And
you
I
know,
get, I get some of those, shoppers out there that say I could buy, a 35-foot trailer, Forest River trailer for that same price. Like, well,
you
go ahead. We're
could.
we're in a different we're in a different into different activities. We've got a different view in life, and that's fine. You
Yeah.
can. It's just a different trailer.
Yeah. It's a whole different beast. It's not, I mean, if you're going to go from, paved campground to paved campground a
Yeah,
couple
you
of
might
times,
be.
a,
You
a,
can
a
be
couple of
fine.
times a year,
That's
yeah, you're probably okay. But
probably the one for you then. Yeah.
yeah, and nothing wrong with sticking tins. I mean, they do fit the purpose for a lot of people.
Yeah, I
And
think actually it's probably the majority of folks that actually fits their bill, and that's fine. Like you mentioned, the campground type of people, um, you know, go on 2 weekend trips a year, and that's it. That's probably the one they should pick.
Explore More says, I literally just bought a Nobo 10.6 No Boundaries trailer last month. I wish I would have heard about
that's
your
that's
stuff.
funny because we just like three of our last 4 or 5 orders, the people had a Nobo and they sold it and got our Adventure Pro Mini. So join the crowd, man.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, so the stick and tins, I mean, they do serve their purpose, and I think that they're fine for a lot of people. And you got to buy a camper or your rig needs to be suitable for what you do, and
Sure.
again, then you get what you pay for too. So it depends on
Everybody has a different,
yeah.
purpose in what their activities they're doing, and so yeah, it doesn't fit everybody, but it fits a certain crowd.
He says, "Oh, great, that makes me feel better."
Hit us up, we'll help you.
Yeah. So yeah, so okay, so just getting through all the, getting stuff going. About how long did it take you to get that first one? From the time that you started acquiring the materials, you got the labor, and you got the place. How long did it take you to get that first production model that you could really sell it and know that, hey, this is what I wanted?
So, it's kind of a funny thing that people might not, that people might not realize, and so I'll just explain. I mean, the first one we built was the one for myself, obviously, and at that point, I wasn't really an established business. I didn't have all that stuff lined up. Um,
Right.
since the first one, we haven't built any trailer that hasn't been sold. So after I started, every single trailer has been ordered, and we just build trailers that are ordered and already sold. So we never got to a point where we're mass producing the trailers or producing them just to have available and to
Right.
sell. So we're not marketing trailers that are unsold. We're building to the needs of the people, and so all of our trailers have been sold. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question more specifically, I guess it doesn't take us all that long to build the actual trailer,
Hmm.
but it's the design work. We've spent on the XL, we probably spent 6 to 8 months just getting the designs and the prints for everything and making it ready for production. Once it gets to that point and you have prints for everything to plug into, the CNC machine to sew up the dinettes, everything kind of gets done at the same time when in the same time frame with multiple different sources, and we can really get a trailer built in quite a short amount of time. But it's the planning, like you said, it takes months to design it and redesign it and make sure it's what you want before you
Yeah.
make it.
That's funny. Ashley actually just she asked the question, "What is the turnaround time on a build?" And I think it's 10 to 12 weeks. If I saw that on your website,
Yeah,
correct?
that has been our typical one. Now, I'll say right now it's extended a little bit. We were fortunate enough to get quite a few orders lately, and then we're out. I'd say through May right now. So our lead time's been expanding a little bit, so we're pushing on adding labor to keep up with it. So it's always trying to keep that happy place, not have too long of a lead time, but yet not over commit to everything. We
Yeah.
did a couple government contracts in the meantime as well, so that helped us. Um, just extra revenue for the company. But yeah, we've been fortunate enough to have a steady amount of orders coming in lately, and the lead time's out to about May or so right now.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated that you came from, the what I would call your um the normal RV industry, and you've
Yeah.
just completely, changed it around. So at the expos, one of my favorite things to do, and one of the things I've done for, is, I go around and I'll do some interviews for the radio, but I like to go see new products. And 2 years ago I was at Expo West, and obviously, I know you really can't speak on this because I know how it is, but I get the opportunity to tell you. I went and saw the Ember RVs, and they were supposed to be this mass production overland style RV, even to the point where they called it an overland camper.
Hmm.
And their concept was nice, the design was nice, but man, I got to tell you, I was sorely disappointed when I walked into that first one at Expo West and was like, this is just a camper with
Hmm.
some Kurt independent suspension on it.
Trying to
That's
hit the
it.
mark. Do the
Yeah.
same thing and hit the market.
Yeah. And so I really, here's what honest truth. Prior to getting there, I was in my mind that I might actually buy one of these because I'd like kind of like to. I'm not hardcore into the, I don't go bury them in the mud, and I'm not,
Yeah.
I get out and I'll do the trails and get the pinstriping and all that good stuff, but I'm not into that anymore. I used to be, but and so I had my mindset that I'm gonna go look at these because I might actually consider, really buying one of them. They looked really appealing till I got there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're great for some people, but there's no way I was spending that kind of money for something that looked like it did. And I was really disappointed. Neat concept. I like the way they had that little garage with the, with the rail system so that you could change everything out. But I just was like, nope. So I'm excited to see what you have, and hopefully I'll get to see you at one of the expos, this year, so
Yeah.
I can actually look at one of the
Touch it.
trailers.
Yeah. Yeah. We're so far to be honest, we've only hit 2 expos so far in the past 2 years. So, a lot of people, that's kind of their main marketing strategy, or one of them. But we've been fortunate enough to receive orders online and talk to people. People show up and see them here, and But next year, we're planning to hit all the Overland expos next year, just so people know that to look for us. We're
Yeah,
planning to be at West and Pacific Northwest. We always hit the one in Loveland, Colorado, Mountain, and
yep,
I'm hoping to hit East this time, in Virginia, I believe it is.
yeah, that one's in Virginia.
And we'll also be at the Moore. We're planning to be at the Moore Expo, which is in
Yeah, it's
where is
April.
that? It's in
Yeah,
Springfield, right?
yep, April.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we'll be there, so I guess that'll be where I'll see you then.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll be there. Chris is a really good friend of ours. As a matter of fact, Chris is about to start his podcast, and who knows, you might actually be on it too because he's going to
all
do
right.
it soon with his vendors. But that expo, um, I can tell you just, and we'll go down this rabbit hole, which we do a lot, but at all the expos I've gone to over the last five years or so, and events, not just expos, but events in general like this. Um, the more expos is a buying show, and I say that because I see people constantly walking out with products, and I know trailer companies that have sold, trailers there,
Yeah.
and that happens at the big expos. But what I think about the More Expo is, and yes, I'm partial to it for anybody that wants to know, is it's here in the center part of the country, man. It's in the middle of the country. So it doesn't
Mhm.
alienate everybody on the East Coast or the Northeast. They can still get here. It's not, out of
Yeah.
that far out where everything else seems to always migrate further west. And granted, this ain't, you know, Arches National Park and Yellowstone and that kind of stuff. But it's still beautiful. And
Yep,
if
the
you've never,
Ozarks.
yeah, it's exactly what I was about to say. The Ozarks. If you haven't been to the Ozarks and you haven't wheeled in the Ozarks or camped, you're missing out because
Yeah.
especially those of you that are on the East Coast, I promise you, when you get to the Ozarks, you're going to feel like you're on the East Coast. It's rocky, it's wet, it's slippery if it's raining. The forest is dense and the water's beautiful. So,
Yeah.
you know, and you guys in Indiana, what do you got? The Hoosier National Forest, and that's about it, right?
Well, one of the nicer places probably is like going up you got the sand dunes. And then if you go up into Michigan, Michigan's about as scenic as anything around here.
Yeah, yeah,
In
yeah,
Indiana, you got mostly cornfields.
yeah, yeah. There you go. So the More Expo is going to be, I think, will be a good show for you. It's always cool to see some new products. We'll be there. We're going to have the radio set up, and doing live shows.
Awesome.
So we'll have to have you there too because we'll
Sweet. Yeah, I'll jump on.
have,
It'd be
have
nice to see you again.
yeah, we'll have all that kind of stuff. So that's
Yeah, we're
pretty
planning to
cool.
have we're actually about to build the trailer here shortly, and it's going to have a nice topo graphics on the sides. We're going to plan to have an Adventure Pro Mini there, but it's going to be have some nice cool graphics and
Oh, nice.
rims, and some unique cabinetry and a couple unique features that haven't been seen yet on the other ones. So yeah, it'll be a nice show for people to show up and touch it and feel it and talk to us and just see what
Well,
we're all about.
well, while you're at it, go ahead and put the Overland Radio logo on the side of it. Just leave it with me. I'll send you a check. I'll send you a check.
Well, yeah,
uh,
that trailer's actually claimed. Like I said, everything's
oh,
built to order. That one's
I
claimed too,
know.
but most of her, what we're another thing we're finding out is a lot of the folks are, they order their trailer and they're like, "Hey, can we bring this to the expo?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine, bring it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll you bring your trailer and I'll fly out there."
yeah.
So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what the people. It's a community. They love what they've got and they want to show it off. So
Isn't that
um,
fun how it starts to develop? I mean, cultivating relationships, especially in this lifestyle or this, industry, I think is so key and it's important. And yeah, I can't say enough about doing those kind of things. And I have other people that in the industry that I have relationships with, and they'll do that. They'll have a dealer that may sell their product, and
yeah,
instead of going to the expo with a booth, they'll just fly in and meet the dealer there and work the dealer's booth and help them. And I
sure,
think that's
yeah,
pretty cool. I think that's
yeah.
really
It
cool.
makes especially for me. I'm almost always crunched on time, so not having to drive all the way to the West Coast and haul a trailer with it's just it's a complicated process, and if somebody's
Yeah.
willing to jump in there alongside, it makes it so much easier and saves a lot of time.
Yeah. All right. So now to get a little on the we'll get a little on the personal side. You have a wife. Do you guys
Mhm.
have kids? Do they like to camp? Does your wife like to camp?
Yeah, so we've got I got 3 boys, and well,
Wow.
my youngest is only 1 and I have a 3-year-old. So yeah, it's a lot of time with the kids. They're obviously pretty young to be like, all up in the camping. But my wife is actually from Mexico, from Oaxaca, which is a southern state in Mexico.
Yeah.
And the funny story is, when we came over here first, um, we lived in a camper. That first camper I built, we actually lived in it for quite a while over the
Nice.
whole summer. And we built a new house, and so we actually lived in our camper for quite a while.
Nice.
And so, yeah, we've done quite a bit of camping. But yeah, at the same time, our kids, we've got some young boys, and it's not always the easiest
Sure.
with super young kids. But yeah, they love my 3-year-old. He every time he sees the mountains, he says, "Let's go to the mountains."
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So he's got the same spirit.
the one you're sitting in is ideal for that situation for having the younger kids in the family. So it's
Yeah,
perfect. Um, Did I hear you say in one of your videos? I think I was trying to watch some of your stuff just to kind of, learn a little bit about what you were doing. Did I hear in one of your videos that you have family in Georgia?
no, I don't think so because
Somewhere, I
it's
don't know
not
where.
true.
Well, it was in the background playing, and I was like, I think I just heard him say he had family in Georgia, but maybe I was just hearing
Must have,
things. But
yeah.
I thought I'd heard that I was gonna say, man, I'm from Georgia. Whereabouts in Georgia were you guys? But um, so what's next? Tell us what's next. Now I know because I've seen something on some of your posts, but tell us what's coming next for Kingdom
Yeah.
Camping.
So obviously, I already mentioned the mid-size redesign of the Caravan
Yeah,
ATS. So that's one of the new things that we're coming out. We have a lot of interest in a mid-size Caravan. So that's one of the exciting things. And then the other exciting thing is we're jumping into the expedition truck um, field. And so what we're wanting to do is we're working on the design now to get it all hashed out. Is take the big international truck and basically have a big box on there and you know people that like to do the Pan American Trail,
right.
take the same concept of being completely off grid with the solar. Obviously now you have your truck with your engine and diesel engine, where the nice thing about this is you can tie in your diesel heater for your cab. Your sleeping area can be on diesel, all on one fuel. And at the same time, you can DC to DC charge from and have your battery bank always charged up. That means you can use, induction cooktop to stay with
Hmm.
that one single gas fuel. So there's just a lot of exciting things about having a truck with a camper built onto it, where we can tie in a lot of the stuff we're already doing and then just taking it to a whole nother level and be drivable. And that's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and we're working through that design stage right now to take it to the next level.
I saw the pictures and I was like, oh man, he's stepping
We're
off in it big
Yeah, we're
time.
hoping, the first one, it's not going to be the most extreme one out there. We're trying to still, there's some out there for $1 million. We're not doing that. We're trying to make it so that's actually affordable, for retirees, or even if you're not a retiree and you're still a working person and it's still affordable. We're trying to keep the price at a good price, and but have all these nice amenities and have it be drivable and
That's pretty cool.
a big bad truck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's really neat. So, anything else coming down the pipe? I mean, is there anything, that, or at least something, in the future later on during the year, another trailer?
Well, yeah,
Uh,
basically those two things. Like I mentioned, we're planning to hit a lot of expos, and that takes up a lot of the time. We're actually building onto our production plant right now, so that's some time consuming stuff going on there. Having a little bit more floor space to work a little bit faster. But yeah, we don't want, like I said, we've always grown incrementally, and we don't want to bite off more than we can chew, and let everything happen as it comes. And so yeah, that's about our max for this year.
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that's a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a lot. Those are big, big commitments, and
yeah.
I'm sure that that those don't come cheap either when you start,
Yeah,
going
it's a
down that
big,
path.
big
So,
investment. So yeah, the design, like I mentioned, the design phase is the most important one. Try to get it right the first time around, and obviously that's almost never true because you notice things after you've built one. You say, hey, this is great, but it'd be even better if it had this, or if this was
yeah,
2 inches shorter, or if this did this. So it's
yeah,
it's always a process, but we're still happy with our product, and people always give us feedback, so we're always trying to improve, trying to if something's not working properly or could be better, we're always looking for ways to improve. We're definitely don't have it figured out. We're always in the process of trying to get better.
right. So, let's talk one last thing, and then we'll kind of start to wind down. We're coming up on an hour. Did Let's say somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I want a trailer. I want to buy one." Um, is there room for them to maybe have you do some custom stuff? In other words, maybe they want a little extra here or with, outlets, or they have something in their mind that they're thinking of. And since you're building the trailer, can that be incorporated?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and that's something that comes up a lot actually. And we have people come to us and say, we really liked so and so's trailer, but we wanted this in it, and they refused to do it, and therefore we didn't get it. So
Right.
yeah, we're open minded. There's obviously limitations to everything,
Sure.
and some things that people don't think about that might hinder their ideas. But yeah, we're always open minded to custom fitting things, and like you said, adding stuff here and there. Everybody, that's one thing about the adventure community is everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different plan. Everybody has a different need. So to think that you could build one model that fits everybody's bill is just a silly idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely open to adding and taking away things to making it exactly what people need, and that's what really excites people and
Yeah.
makes it so much more special is they get to place their order on their trailer that's made the way they want it, and that's really what gets a lot of people going.
That's pretty awesome. So let's go through and talk about your social medias. So you're on all the major platforms, right? How does everybody find you?
Well, I don't think we're on all of them, but Instagram is a big one for us. We do post pretty regularly on Instagram. We've a lot of started to build up a follower base on there. We're starting to do YouTube videos. It's something I didn't do right off the bat, but I'm starting to do that more regularly. So try to, especially if we do something unique or something new or different, I'm going to try to be making a video of that to show it off. So yeah, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, of course, are the main ones that we're on.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably
And
all of them.
it's all Kingdom Camping, right?
Yep, Kingdom Camping. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay. So hey, let's go out there and give him a follow. Um, he does post pretty cool stuff on his Instagram, and I did notice the videos. You are starting to put out a few more videos. Seems like the last ones though, it's always snowy and cold. We
Yeah, I
got to
think get that gets people in the mood to winter camp.
yeah. Oh man, we're gonna do a camp. We have a thing. Actually, it's kind of associated, sort of, kind of associated, I guess, with the More Expo. We're gonna do a polar bear camp deal. Starts this month. We camp in 4 different states, one weekend a month. Each month or each camp out, you get a patch, and then if you do all of them, then you camp at more together at the expo. There's a special deal there, and then you get this one big, basically like a patch holder, and I think it looks like a polar bear, but it's got the cutouts for the patches for each state, and they're inserted in
Cool.
there. So yeah, for us here, especially in Oklahoma, winter camping is a good thing because it's cool. Um,
Yeah,
the only thing we have that stinks about the cool is the wind does blow, and that does make it sometimes a little bit hard. But
yeah,
you know, anyway,
yeah.
um,
There's something about sleeping in a nice warm camper and open the window and there's snow flying and it's
oh yeah,
something amazing about it.
absolutely. Well, before we wrap it up, is there anything else you'd like to share with everybody before we go?
I just thank you to all your listeners and like you said, make sure to follow Overland Radio too. And thanks for having us on. Thank you guys for following, our story and our campers. If you got any feedback for us, feel free to reach out, give us your input. We're always looking to connect to more people. And thank you, for supporting our company and we appreciate you guys. And we do it for you guys.
Well, it sounds like Explore More is going to have to get rid of the Nobo and get one now. And Ashley may be in the market for one now, and it may just be her own because they have another trailer just tore it apart, and she's ready to kill him because he's partially gutted it to do some work on it. So there's a possibility that Ashley may just say, "I want my own trailer." So
There you go.
you never know, but
Let's do it.
anyway, Jamin, I appreciate you joining us. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sharing your story. It's been interesting to learn about how you started out, where you are now. We look forward to following you as you guys grow and get bigger.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you at the More Expo, which is mere months away, but look forward to seeing you there. And for everybody listening, watching on all the different ones, because I think we're connected to like 6 or 7 different social media deals. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For those of you who catch us later on the podcast that we produce, thank you as well. Please go give us a like, subscribe, and leave us a good review on iTunes or whatever. We'd love to hear from you. Send us a message. Hang out for a minute. I'm gonna shut her all down and then we'll be right back.